Welcome back, and as we told you at the beginning of the episode, and as Ahmed mentioned, we will be talking about the bloody history of the banned Muslim Brotherhood and how their agenda is based on assassination, and also we'll be commemorating the memory of the late Mahmoud Fahmi al-Nuqrashi Pasha, one of Egypt's most renowned prime ministers who served twice, once from 1945 to 1946, and then once from 46 to 48, and he was assassinated on the 28th of December 1948 by one of the members of the Muslim Brotherhood, who was caught and confessed that he killed him because al-Nuqrashi Pasha banned the Muslim Brotherhood, and he was countering their terrorist attacks and behavior. And I'm happy to have with me Dr. Salah Abdel, and he's a political expert, to shed more light on the violence and the historical violence of the banned Brotherhood group. Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Dr. Salah, thank you very much for being with us today on Nile Cruise. If we can mention that Mahmoud Fahmi al-Nuqrashi Pasha was one of the first victims for the violence and the bloody violence of the terrorist Brotherhood organization after banning it for maybe one of the first times in its history. What are the circumstances of the assassination of al-Nuqrashi Pasha?
Well, Mahmoud Fahmi al-Nuqrashi is the second victim, because the first victim is Ahmed Maher Pasha. And for the coincidence, Ahmed Maher Pasha and al-Nuqrashi Pasha, they was intimate friends, and both of them was extreme nationalist, and they was against the British colonialism to Egypt. And when they are young, they have a secret group called the Black Hands, and they was kidnapping the British soldiers and officers to push the British to go outside Egypt. And both of them had been assassinated by the Muslim Brotherhood. They was against the British, and the assassination was by the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood. Look to the coincidence.
Yes.
Mahmoud Fahmi al-Nuqrashi was born in 1888 in Alexandria. After returning from Britain, he was a teacher. Then when the revolution of 1919 started, he was young. He was one of the leaders of the youth in that time. The British catch him and they put him in the prison and they sentence him for death. There was a court and sentence for death. Then because of the people and the demonstrations and so on, they returned back in the trial and they let him free. Okay, he became a member in Al-Wafd when the leader Saad Zaghloul starting Al-Wafd party, and he was a minister in many times, starting by the Minister of Transport and so on. He was continuing in the Wafd until Saad Zaghloul died, and there was some argument between him and Nahas Pasha, so he left the Wafd, he and Ahmed Maher Pasha, his friend, and they make another party called Al-Saadiyin Party. Okay, through Al-Saadiyin Party, he was a minister also many times, and he was prime minister 2 times. He started to be prime minister after assassination of Ahmed Maher Pasha in the House of Assembly. He was addressing the representatives about entering the war against the German, because the German was defeated. The man want Egypt to have a place in the negotiation after the war. But one of the Muslim Brotherhood was waiting him in the hall between the Senate and the representative, and they shot him in that place and he died.
Yes.
So Mahmoud Fahmi al-Nuqrashi became a prime minister for a period. Then Ismail Sidqi Pasha came after him and became a prime minister. Ismail Sidqi starting a negotiation with the British to go out from Egypt. and the government, the Britain government, was putting one important figure, that Egypt must go out from Sudan, and the British soldiers will leave Egypt. And Ismail Sidqi Pasha accepted that. So King Farouk removed the ministry, and he pushed Ismail Sidqi to resign before he signed the agreement with the British delegation, because the King Farouk doesn't accept that part. So Mahmoud Fahmi Naqrashi became prime minister in 46.
Yes.
And he started negotiation with the British about leaving Egypt. And he told them that Sudan and Egypt is one country, and the British soldiers are a colonial soldiers, so they have to leave Egypt. And he went to the Security Council, and he started his proposal about asking the Security Council to let the British soldiers go out of Egypt. During his negotiation in the Security Council, the Muslim Brotherhood starting bombing in Cairo, Gatineau and Dawood Atz, and some cinemas and some shops, and many persons died by the Muslim Brotherhood bombs, and the Jewish street, and many things like that.
Yes.
So the British delegation to the Security Council, they said that the Suez Canal is not safe because there is terrorism in Egypt, and the soldiers are needed to protect Suez Canal and to protect the ships which is related to the world, you know.
Yes.
So Security Council doesn't accept what Mahmoud Fahmi Naqrashi say, and they didn't give him any decision. So the man returned back, and he considered that the Muslim Brotherhood is the cause of his failure, and that they are working with the British. And he said they are working with the British. This is number one. Number two, he entered the war in Palestine during his government. And when the fighting of Palestine was started, there was a bombing of Muslim Brotherhood also inside the country here. And a jeep car had been captured without numbers, and they found explosions and the plan to bomb the embassy, British embassy and the American embassy and other places in Egypt. So the man considered that they are working against the country, and that's why he gave his decision to dissolve this group, okay?
Yes.
To dissolve the Muslim Brotherhood. That's why they sent Abdel Hassan, a young boy. He have a dress like a police officer, waiting him in the Ministry of Internal Affairs, because he was the Prime Minister and the Minister of Internal Affairs. When the man entered the Ministry of Internal Affairs, he shot him bullets in his back, and the man died. Of course, this is crime, and it was astonishing that the man who was fighting against the British when he was young, and when he Prime Minister, he wanted the colonial soldiers to go outside Egypt to be killed by the hands of an Egyptian, the group of the Egyptian, whatever the name, Muslim Brotherhood and so. And Mr. Hassan al-Banna, he gave address after that they are not Muslim and not brothers. And he said that he didn't give orders for that. But of course, this is all a vague. It's not true, because Abdel Hassan can't do this assassination except by order. He is a member of the secret organization to the Muslim Brotherhood, and of course he take his order from his boss, and the boss take from another boss, and so on.
And training and funding.
Yeah, and that would lead us, Doctor, to talk about the manipulative strategy and misleading various announcements of the Muslim Brotherhood, how they say something and do something else, and their strategy itself in manipulating the society itself, Doctor.
Of course, the Muslim Brotherhood, when they start, they was talking about religion. But in the same time, they was preparing a secret organization, which they call it the special organization.
Yes.
That special organization did a lot of terrible accident in Egypt by killing one judge in Hilwan and killing Ahmed Maher Basha and assassinating Mahmoud Fahmi and Nukrashi Basha and bombing many cinemas and many shops and many people died. You know, it was all criminal. And it was ended by trying to assassinate Gamal Abdel Nasser in 1954 in Alexandria. So this is how they was working. And because of this work, Hassan al-Banna also was killed. Although he has all this secret organization. And there is a question here. How Hassan al-Banna have all this secret organization and power and they don't protect him from assassination? This is a very important question, need to be searched for.
Yes, Dr. Salah, you have mentioned Hassan al-Banna, the founder of the Brotherhood terrorist organization. How do you think it first evolved? The Brotherhood organization, how did it start? How was it founded by Hassan al-Banna?
It was started in Ismailia province. Hassan al-Banna was a teacher there. He started in the mosque there. And he find encouraging from Suez Canal Company, which is related, of course, to the British intelligence.
Yes.
They give him some £1,000 by that time to support him financially to extend his work. Of course, he was talking about religion and return to God and so and so. And this talks was accepted by the people. You know, all the Egyptians they like religion. So there was nothing wrong up till that time. But of course, the British intelligence was behind him and was supporting him. After it became strong in Ismailia, he had been transferred to Cairo. And then he started his Muslim Brotherhood organization in Cairo. And then extend. After that, he started the special organization. And then this special organization was secret. And the head of that organization, a person called Abdul Rahman al-Sindi. And this organization was a military organization. And when they extend in the villages, they was dressing the young boys special dress, which is short and shirt, yellow. And they put the badge of the Muslim Brotherhood. And every morning and every night, there was a march in the villages with the drums, like the Nazi organization. It is nearer to the Nazi organization in Europe. I saw it myself when I was very small. I saw it in the village. When what happened, I hear the voice of the drum. I was asking my grandfather, what is this? He told me that the Muslim Brotherhood are making their own march in the village. In our villages, they changed the village to a kind of military work. And they increased in the number to the extent that they became army. And during the war in Palestine, they have a lot of arms by that time, so they became very strong. And by 52, they was the strongest military group in Egypt. Even they can fight the army. That's why, but the question is that Nasser was working with them for some time. That's why he knew where they hide all the guns and the weapons and the explosives. That's why when they start to assassinate him, he attacked them, and they have a knowledge about all the stores. So it was very easy for him to remove the group completely and to control everything and to put the leaders and the other persons in the prison. The history of the Muslim Brotherhood is a bloody history. They're talking about Islam, but in fact they are working against Islam. And what Prime Minister Mahmoud Fahmi, the late Mahmoud Fahmi and Nukrashi say, they are working with the British against Egypt. It was true.
Yes. Well, doctor, we have only a minute or less before actually we have to wrap, but we're still going to be meeting and continuing talking to you after the break, where we will be talking about the mega projects in Egypt and following up on our talk still with you following the break. Now we
Okay.
will be going to a quick break, but we'll be back with Dr. Salah Abdallah, so stay with us.